What's up, and welcome to the Sisterhood Corner. To the newbies, welcome. To those who've been here before, welcome back. It's on to the next letter. It reads, should I get back with my ex? It's a question. Well, hopefully we can answer it. Hi, Sisterhood Corner. I'm a 46-year-old woman who, though not rich, is financially, spiritually, and emotionally comfortable. Though it took years, I am finally comfortable in my own skin. I have a stronger sense of self, and my self-esteem is great. I am also at peace with the fact that I'm an unmarried woman without children. The children part, that was a personal choice. I never connected with the idea of motherhood, and thus had to understand that marriage would automatically be off the cards based on that decision. Also, a lot of the guys I dated made it very clear that kids were a package deal. So if I didn't want kids, there would never be a marriage, and perhaps I should let go of that idea. So I listened and just made peace with the fact that perhaps I'll never get married. Now in my 20s, and I'd say between 25 and 28, I dated and sort of lived with a guy for about 3 years. Though the relationship ended on a toxic note, I can say he's the only man I ever connected with. After him, I have had relationships, but none of them reached that level in terms of connection. We recently connected via Facebook, and of course, have been reminiscing about our relationship. Talking to him all these years later and realizing how much he has matured has really been interesting. We recently met face to face, and I must say the chemistry is still there. We have talked about where we went wrong, but mostly he apologized about how immature he had been during that time, apologizing for most of his wrongdoings. And he wants us to try again. According to him, he also has never met anyone else who connected with him the way I did. Now, let me say this. Though it took a lot of time, I did heal from a lot of the things he did. This included cheating and verbal abuse. When I left that relationship, my self-esteem was at an all-time low. And boy, did it take a lot of time for me to finally reinstill it. I have, however, forgiven him, but I'm not sure about getting back together. He has 3 children with 3 different women. Meaning that when he gets back with me, meaning that he gets to get back with me. Granted, I have 2 dogs he needs to accept, but he comes with 6 people this time around. His kids and their mothers. I'm not sure I'm ready for that. I remember when I knew him, it was just us 2. Now I would need to think about being a potential stepmom. And I'm not sure how that sits with me. On the other end, we just click like old times, laughing at the same jokes. And though we have not been intimate yet, the chemistry is definitely still there. I still like him a lot. I'm not sure about the love part yet, but I also want to make sure I'm not somewhat feeling lonely, seeing as that I've been single for quite some time. How do I resolve this conundrum? That's how she signs off. Thank you so much for coming, for trusting our platform with your story. I think this is a fairly easy thing to deal with in terms of the questions I'm going to ask you. I think those questions should help you, evaluate whether this is worth revisiting or not. But first, congratulations on the life you've created for yourself. I like the line where you say you are financially, spiritually, and emotionally comfortable. I promise you, a lot of us, that's what we pray for. Being that just, it's a nice balance. Just being peaceful in all three areas like that. That's that's a good space to be in. And being comfortable, you also say you're comfortable in your skin and your self-esteem is great, right? I promise you, a lot of us are still working towards that. Some days are great, some days are not. But to hear somebody say, I'm in that space, kudos to you. It takes a lot of work, and also I think it's a destination all of us wish to arrive at as women. So, all right, you go on to say that you met this man in your 20s, and you had this amazing relationship, though it ended on a toxic note. You recently reconnected. Okay, I'm going to ask you these questions. The first one is, I want you to look deep inside of your heart. You say when you left relationship, your self-esteem was at an all-time low, right? And now, at this point, you are in a good space financially, spiritually, and emotionally, and you are comfortable in your own skin. You have a good sense of self, right? Now, is it worth it going to a relationship that once made you lose all of that? Sans the financial part, but just the inner peace, right? That's the first question. Because according to you, when you left the relationship, it had stripped you of your self-esteem. And I take it that's from the verbal abuse. And as all women know, normally when a man is full of verbal abuse, he attacks you, the way you look, everything like that. That's why your self-esteem takes a plunge. Probably compares you to his side chicks, his girlfriends, or he makes you feel like your body's not great, you are not pretty enough, he can do better than you, right? This is now some of us who've seen it, who've been through it. Normally that's what happens, right? He attacks you because he knows. Now, that should be your first question. Looking at where you are now, in terms of self-esteem and self-worth, is it worth you going back there? And I say that because I can promise you, a relationship that was once like that, there will always be triggers. So it could be he's mature now and you're mature now, but he might make a joke and it might trigger something like that. Think about it. You go on to say he has 3 kids with 3 different women. Ask yourself the question, if you had 3 kids with 3 different men, would he take you back? Was he going to be interested in you guys getting back together? Ask yourself that. You know him, we don't, realistically speaking. Or even ask him, if you will. That's the second question. Where you sign off and you say you've been alone for quite some time, you've been single for quite some time, maybe it's the lonely talking. That's a good question to also ask yourself. Are you lonely? Because yes, being single, you will come across bouts of loneliness, but then, with time, you have to learn how to deal with those. Because if you don't, you end up in relationships you have no business being in. It has happened to quite a lot of women. You won't be the first, you won't be the last. We all know how this rolls, right? So that's another important question to ask yourself. If you were to ask me, any man who ever made you feel less than is never worth taking back. I don't care how much chemistry or how much connection you ever had. Any man who ever made you feel that way is never worth taking back. I don't care if I'm 50 and I hit 50 and my prospects, my so-called prospects, are slim to none. I'd rather die alone than go back to a man who ever made me feel like I'm worthless and I'm nothing. That is not an attack on me physically. It's just an attack on my sense of self, on my mental health. And for me, that is the lowest blow any man can ever hit me with. Any pain, I can take any pain, but that pain, it's never really worth revisiting. And I think and another thing, yes, you've healed, but remember, you heal and you forgive, but there will always be triggers. And I promise you, a man like that will always trigger you. He will always trigger you. You've already answered yourself on the one question. Well, not really, but you've already said you're not sure if you want to be a stepmom. So why do it? You see, this is another thing. We always talk about self-love as women, but I don't think we practice it enough. Men practice it. They don't even talk about it. They do it. Hence, I asked you the question, if you were the one with the 3 kids and the 3 baby daddies, was he going to take you back? And I can promise you, he never was. He's interested in you now because chances are you're probably looking good. He's like, oh, she never had kids with anybody. So because chances are you might have discussed this with him while you were dating him, that you don't want kids. And maybe he's like, oh my God, she really was serious. She doesn't. And now he wants that, right? And he wants don't. My dear, please don't. Don't take this man back. I don't care what kind of connection you think you had with the man. Enjoy your financial freedom. Enjoy your peace. Go, listen, take your money, book yourself on an overseas trip or something, because clearly you've done well for yourself. Enjoy your money, enjoy your life. Take your dogs for a walk. Love your dogs. Take all that love, give it to your dogs and your family. This is one person, any man who attacks you verbally. Verbal abuse is the worst because it sticks in the head and it really messes with you emotionally and mentally. And that's what, and it comes from a horrible place. I always say, people who attack you verbally and say horrible things, it comes from a vile place. I don't care what people say. Those are the most vile people because they know exactly what they're doing. Cut ties with this guy. You don't owe him anything. I think he's made a lot of mistakes in his life. He realizes what he had was good. Now he's trying to get it back. No, let him lie in his bed, wherever he is now. He's miserable. Let him sit there. Let him be miserable all by himself. Enjoy your life. Let him watch you live your life. Over there on Facebook, by the way, not close to you. And I hope that was the last meeting. Imagine somebody putting you down. You left with your self-confidence so low. Now, back then in your 20s, you were, because our bodies change. Your body looked different in your 20s. Now he's going to meet you now in your 40s. I don't know if you're a gym bunny or what your story is, but even if you're a gym bunny, our bodies change. What if he comes back and he's like, he says one comment about your body. I promise you'll be so triggered. You'll go back to that broken girl. And yet you are a 46-year-old woman. Nope. The man must not come back. Do not revisit. He's an ex for a reason. Let him stay there. It's over. Enjoy yourself. Make time for yourself. Enjoy your life. You've created this life. Enjoy it. You will meet somebody else. I promise you. You will meet somebody else. Law, he must just go. But once again, revisit the 3 questions I asked you. Make up your mind from there. Good luck.